Digital comics.
Yeah, absolutely. Digital comics, Ryan.
You own and operate a comic book store.
I do.
How do you feel about digital comics?
Yeah.
Is it killing you?
Truthfully, not. I think there's an amazing amount of benefits and some drawbacks for digital comics, but I think the first couple months that I was open, I was actually noticing that Comixology themselves was telling people where to locate actual physical comic book stores, and I actually had people who would get the free 1 month Comixology subscription, and then it would say, hey, if you like these comics, go check out this local comic book store. And I was even seeing a few people who would come in and buy those. So
That's awesome.
yeah, absolutely.
I know when Tom, a couple months ago, him and his dad told the story of him growing up in a comic store.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking about how my whole origin story of comics.
Yeah.
My first comic was, my parents got me the 40-year CD of all the X-Men comics from like 1963 up to like 2003.
Mm-hmm.
My very first set of comics was all digital. It was on the computer.
Sure.
I sat there at the desktop PC scrolling through X-Men comics for a couple years.
That's awesome.
I started digital, you know? It's kind of like how I do comics. And then when the New 52 came out, I went to the store and I bought comics. I started doing monthlies and stuff.
Right. And the New 52 was 2011. When did you get the digital X-Men comics? What year was that?
That would have been 2006.
Okay. And I mean, that was like nascent years of digital comics, because I remember even going on eBay and you could get a burnt CD of free to own Archie comics or Playboy magazines or, you know, again, X-Men or Golden Age Batman. And if you could get Action Comics 1 through 200 on a single CD and it only cost you $25 shipped to your front door, okay.
Especially if your parents are footing the bill, too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a little easier for them.
They're not going to be able to spend all the money on the Action Comics. So there's some absolute benefits to it. I think it's it's good, but it has definitely progressed. I think that initially it was one of those things that you really had to go online and seek out and find someone who had copies. I have a regular at my store who's part of a digital archiving group.
Interesting.
And I say that with a little bit of disdain in my voice because I'm not 100% certain about the legalities.
It sounds
of
fuzzy.
this. But what he's working with really seems to be a lot of like Platinum Age and Golden Age stuff, super old things that they don't have digital copies of.
Yeah.
They're not going to do reprints of unless someone like Fantagraphics picks up and says, we're going to do a Peanuts reprint of original Charles Schultz stuff, or we're going to go back and do an all-new Mutt and Jeff reprint of a bunch of stuff, right?
I don't even know what that is.
But that happens, that you will get people who are super interested in really old things, and you cannot find copies, or are unwilling to spend $15,000 on an issue number 1, you know, just to be able to touch and feel and read and that.
There's drawbacks.
Absolutely, yeah.
Makes you think, I guess.
Yeah,
Especially back in the day, I was reading digital comics on the PC. It wasn't like now, it's a tablet thing. I got my tablet, it's all touchscreen. It's way more convenient. You can pull it out on your phone, you got thousands of comics.
Oh, totally. Yeah, the convenience is amazing. Because, I mean, if I think about on my phone currently right now, I have the regular Sandman run, 1 through 75. I have Cerebus 1 through 300. And I have Preacher 1 through 66 and all of the offshoots. So that's 400, 500 comics, give or take.
You have to have like a limo to carry that.
Right, but that's about 2 long boxes that I carry in my back pocket at any point in time. It's also probably around, I don't know, Cerebus number 1's really expensive, so probably around $8,000 or $9,000 worth of comics that I just carry, you know? And it's something that I'll never be able to sell, these ones and zeros, but I get to read them and enjoy them. And every single one of these comics I own. So I don't really feel bad about having a digital copy of it. Being able to have a Marvel subscription or Comixology subscription or DC Direct subscription. Being able to read more comics that you probably wouldn't have picked up otherwise. When you have to buy a new comic and it costs you $3.99 for a Marvel digital comic or $3.99 for a paper comic, you know, what do you want to spend your money on? Do you want to take up the space? Do you want to have something collectible? You can't resell 1s and 0s. You can resell the paper physical comics. Would you rather? I mean, at that point in time, it's a dilemma. But when you pay $9.99 a month for Marvel Unlimited or whatever it is, and you get the opportunity to just go and read, you
Go
can
hard.
you can absolutely, and you can go pick up Kazar, and you can try and pick up the Captain Marvel stuff, and you can read these things that you may not have ever wanted to read, Warlock and the Infinity Crusade. But
Guilty.
now you have an
exactly.
opportunity to, because it's not something that, unless you are going out and actively seeking and going on eBay and going, I'm going to spend X and such on X and such to come and physically flip through these, you can just go.
You've already paid. It's there. It's like
Right.
It's like seeking out something on Netflix that you wouldn't have like bought the DVD for.
Absolutely. Right. Netflix is great. I mean, I used to spend all my time on Netflix watching movies, and now I spend all my time on Netflix looking for movies to watch because there's so much to choose from. I'm just flipping.
Spend more time scrolling than I do actually watching.
3 hours
something.
later, I'm like, I still haven't watched
What
anything.
have I done with my life? Like, ugh. But then again, digital's got it's got some drawbacks. Like you don't want to look at your phone all day, like reading a comic.
No, absolutely.
It's a little different with like a tablet screen. It's roughly the size of a comic page, but it's not the same.
No, it's not the same. And big and bulky, or if it drops and if it cracks, and I mean, you have to hold them gingerly and whatever. I mean,
and then, like technically you don't buy the comic. You're buying like a license to read the comic. You don't physically own anything.
but we accept that in all of our software and everything that we do. When we own a copy of Windows for our computer, you are buying the licensing right to use that copy of Windows as long as Bill Gates and Microsoft choose to let you use that. And if at any point in time they revoke those rights, you've lost it. Same thing with Marvel.
Or if like Comixology happened to go under at some point, they won't now, Amazon and all that, but
right, but
before that, you could have feasibly lost access to all that stuff, right? Is that how that would work?
yeah.
They
Absolutely.
go under, that money, those comics are just gone. That whole library I have.
Yeah, you don't have the access to that anymore.
That's a frightening prospect. I've got far too many comics on there that would just be gone.
That's okay. You can come to my store. I have physical copies of all of them.
See?
Every single one.
Symbiosis.
It's good.
Keep it in the Venom family. I didn't even make that pun on purpose. That's good.
But no, I don't think that it's killing my business. I think that I have so many people that come in and they, oh my God, I'm so sorry about digital. Oh, digital's gonna kill you.
I'm killing you.
But some people are overly apologetic. Oh my God, I know that digital. Oh, what happens when all the I don't think it's gonna happen that way. I don't think that we're gonna be ever at a point, at least in my lifetime, where digital is gonna surpass the physicality of the comic books. Again, we've already touched on the portability of the digital, but you have the value and the resaleability. I'm a very tactile person, and I want to touch and feel and all of the above. Definitely. And even if I have a Kindle where it's got it kind of feels like a page a little bit, it's not the same. And it doesn't smell the same, and it doesn't feel the same. And even if you're flipping through, a lot of times those digital ones don't have ads for sea monkeys and don't have ads for, trunk of 1001 army figures for $6.95. Right, and it's kind of cool to see that nostalgia era.
It is.
One of my favorite ads is the back of Tales of Suspense 97. It's got this amazing cover where you've got Captain America and Black Panther fighting each other, but on the second to last page, there's an ad that for $16.95 you can buy a live monkey.
Like an actual monkey.
Like an actual live monkey.
Not sea monkeys or something.
No, and it's like from this animal farm in Florida.
Okay.
And you can get an actual monkey. I'll show it to you later. It's fantastic.
I need to see that.
Right? But it's kind of cool because a lot of that stuff you don't see because the rights and the advertisements are not there anymore.
They had the ads in that like X-Men thing I read as a kid, but in Comixology.
Because that was a scan from the original ones. But when you do Comixology, they're doing like the Marvel Masterworks reprints where they're just giving you panel for panel for panel for panel. And it feels relatively sterile. Not 100% of them like that. But
it's also, I would liken it to the Star Wars trilogy. Like the original trilogy versus the updated, touched up George Lucas versions. Because I'm reading the old Fantastic Four run right now, the original Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, almost switched those up.
Sure.
I'm up to like 82 or something right now.
Okay.
And in comic form, those pages would be yellow. They'd be aged, and they pop. They pop a little too cleanly on digital.
Cream colored.
Yes.
Cream to off-white.
That's what I should have said.
Right.
Yes.
No. But yes, there is definitely an amount of aging that the acid in the paper and the actual pulp in the paper and when you've got 50, 60 years of feel to it.
The smell and the feel
There's
and like
something,
the experience.
Yeah.
You don't get that digital.
I don't like looking at the old school comics and flipping through and going, these are pristine white pages, and this totally feels like a reprint.
Yeah.
There's something cool about actually picking up a Fantastic Four 48 and going, oh, Galactus and Silver Surfer. Yup, smells like the 60s, you know? It's something that you don't get.
Dusty scroll of ancient times that might just disintegrate in your hands.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I've got a Golden Age collection that I'm going through right now, and it's, 1950s Dell 4-color, a lot of Disney stuff right now. And there are some of these comics that are disintegrating in my hands.
Oh,
and
literally.
You pick them up and you're moving from one bag to a board and you put them in there and you're like, all right, I will never open that again because it just was stored so poorly. So that's another one of the absolute benefits that I like so much about digital, because even if we lose the physical copies of these, if the Library of Alexandria burns down, we're going to have something stored on a cloud or a SkyDrive or something. And I think that's probably one of the best things, the longevity. Doesn't matter. We'll all die and fade away, but eventually there will be a hard drive somewhere.
The aliens will find our comic collections.
That's amazing.
Long after we're gone.
Yep. It's good.
That is good. That's probably a good place to stop this.
It sounds good.
That's a good ending point. Well, thank you guys for watching. I've been...
Oh, do I?
Oh, that's a very good question.
We're getting comments.
Oh, thank you, Comic Tom.
Hey, thanks.
That one guy,
That's all right. Cool.
Do you guys, we want to know what you think. How do you feel? Digital, physical, both? I like both. Seems like Russ is kind of in both camps.
Mostly the time, I spend most of my time actually reading digital comics. For as surrounded as I am by the actual physical comics, the best time for me to read is at home lying on my bed.
That's when I do it too, man.
Right, and it's easier to just flip through on my phone. I'm surrounded by comics all day, grading and reading and all of the above. But yeah, what do you guys do? That's fantastic. Let us know. Leave in the comments below. Ryan and I are both fighting over who gets to say geek responsibly, because it's close to the end of this video, right,
very
Ryan?
Close.
I think this is amazing. Good place to stop. I mean, Ryan, thank you so much for chatting with me, and thank you for letting me chat with you.
This was beautiful.
This has been fun. We're trying some new spin outs for this. But again, like the podcast, and remember to geek responsibly.
Nuff?
Said. Like, subscribe, and go to geekstreet101.com, and you can sign up for our subscription service where we send you comic books monthly. Like a box of comics. It's pretty cool.